It's Saturday night and I'm gonna make some burgers. I usually don't really make a lot of burgers because some things are just too good to have regularly. But I always keep some 80-20 ground beef in the freezer along with some nice brioche buns from the supermarket and kind of, you know, an emergency break glass. And tonight is the emergency. We're gonna break the glass and make some burgers. My preference for burgers is the smash burger. I like lots of texture. So we're gonna try to build like a whole tower of texture. We're gonna have toasted buns and then 2 layers of meat. We're gonna do a double smash burger, so you have 2 crispy layers. In between those 2 layers, we're gonna have some fried onions, some crispy fried onions, because onions make a burger to me. Like I feel like burger means onion and beef. And then we're gonna have some American cheese, and on top of all that, a little bit of kimchi, which I've discovered I really love on my burgers. It almost tastes like a bacon cheeseburger without the bacon. And we're gonna make some quick pickled cucumbers for extra crunch. And I don't know, let's see how it works out. We're also gonna do some sweet potato fries, just simply because you gotta have fries with your burger. But here, let's get going. Let's start off with the cucumbers because we want to give them plenty of time to pickle. You need more water?
Yeah.
Oh, one rolled away. We're going for something a little bit thick, you know, like something you want to crunch into. I'm gonna make a few extra just to have around. So you get a colander out. I'm gonna toss these with a few big pinches of salt, like more salt than you would think, because we're gonna lose some of it as it drains, and a bit of sugar as well. Well, that was quite a bit of sugar, but we can rinse it off. I'm just gonna let these sit here and drain while we chop some onions for the crispy onions. Yeah. 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 Looks like we're If I wanted to do this really right, I would use a mandolin, but we're just gonna try to make some really thin half onion rings. Yes, we're going for like super thin. The thinner, the crispier. We're going into a cold pan with these. We're just going to pour the exact right amount of oil, just enough to cover the onions in the pan, and bring up the heat slowly. I'm gonna use olive oil and I'm going to strain it and get a second use out of it afterwards. So I wouldn't want to waste this much olive oil. Otherwise you could just use canola oil and throw it away, because that shit is cheap. And I've got this on like a medium-high heat. I'm just gonna get a fork to stir with. And while that's going, we can chop up some sweet potatoes. It's starting to bubble now. Let me just stir it around. Keep them moving. On the sweet potato fries, I've been having better luck with thicker cut in the oven. And I'll show you, I like to do a little extra starch on the outside for crispness. And I'm going to try a new little gimmick, I guess you could say. I got a rack for my half sheet pan, like a net that you can cook your food on, and it's supposed to be good for browning things, and I'm gonna give it a shot. So, you know, I'm getting some that are pretty thick. I'm gonna shoot for crispy exterior, gooey interior, or soft, not gooey. It'd be weird to have a gooey sweet potato. Stir the onions. I'm gonna use the big boy bowl. I'm gonna toss these with just a little bit, while they're still just a little bit wet from their own moisture content. Toss them with a little bit of potato starch. You could use cornstarch as well. Just enough to dry up the natural moisture inside the potatoes. That was probably like a tablespoon. I'm gonna use peanut oil, and a generous amount of it. And I'm gonna also use a generous amount of salt. This bowl is a little hard to maneuver. I lost one. And I like to use a bit of paprika. And then also some black pepper. Alright, that looks pretty good.
Did Bubba put that together?
So here's that rack that I was talking about. You know, the idea is just to get air all around it. Maybe this is what's inside of an air fryer. I don't even know what an air fryer is. But maybe it sits on a rack. I can feel the starch. It becomes this like goop when you mix it with the oil. I guess I might try turning on convection. Since now we're gonna have airflow around all these guys, it makes sense to run the fan. You can see the onions are starting to brown up now. I'm gonna rinse these cucumbers off a little bit. They've wept their water. Let's pat them dry. Yeah, not over seasoned at all. I'll probably end up adding a little more salt back in.
Cheers.
Now they're really getting there. Cheers, what are we having?
We're having an aviation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Ooh,
Abe.
that is lovely.
Yeah, he needs to cheers.
Oh, you need to cheers? We need to save these onions from burning.
Hey, baby, why don't you go tell Theo that it's time to come upstairs?
Squeezing some of the oil out before we lay them out on paper towels. Right now they're still soft, but as they dry, they will crisp up. And this is when you can get rid of the excess oil. I'm just trying to sort of separate the tangles and allow them some space to dry out and cool down and not steam each other. And then while they're still wet, this is the moment to season. I'm gonna use a little flaky salt for that. Already getting crispy. There, we got the crispy onions, and the oven is at 450 on convection, which is Something I normally don't do. I'm just sort of experimenting with this rack. We'll keep an eye on it. And then, you know, we've drained and patted out these cucumbers, and I'm going to just add some rice vinegar. I'm gonna taste one. And I'm gonna add a touch more salt. And then we're just gonna pop this in the fridge. And while we're in here, let's get stuff for burger sauce. We need mayo, ketchup, mustard, and seriously, stay with me, fish sauce. Alright, burger sauce is sort of a mood thing for me, and I change it depending on my mood. It's always based on mayonnaise. Sometimes I use Q pie, sometimes I use Duke's. This Duke's is getting old, so I'm gonna use it. I need a high five? Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a lot. All right, then a little ketchup and a little mustard. I never use prepared mustard, so this is the only time I get to use it. And just a little bit of fish sauce, which drastically increases the savoriness. Some rice vinegar for acidity. Some hot sauce for heat. I'm gonna use Frank's Red Hot. Ooh, gross.
What is it?
Just the crusty part of the bottle. Yeah, fell onto the food. It's fine. Garlic powder and just a tincture of monosodium glutamate. Don't tell anyone. And also just a little bit of sugar. Don't tell anyone.
You're gonna draw on that.
Need salt. And more acidity. Actually, the pickling liquids from some hot pickles, you don't want to thin it out too much. That's pretty much the max that I can add liquid-wise for needing to add more mayonnaise. Ooh, oh, that's really good. Let's make the patties. Oh, we might as well get the bread out. And I'm gonna turn it into 7 patties because I'm making 3 double cheeseburgers and 1 single for the little guy. And you know, I'm not gonna get the portions totally correct. I'm just gonna start like chunking it out and thinking about it. Stealing from one to give to the other, stuff like that. But basically I'm just making a ball. And I used to worry about packing it too firmly, but it doesn't matter when you make a smash burger, honestly. But you want to start with a ball because it'll give you more of a round patty. And then we want these to be cold when they hit the pan, so we're gonna keep it in the fridge. I'm gonna cook on my griddle. This is just where I do this particular task. It barely fits the number of patties that I need to make for me and my fam. And it'll kind of crowd a little bit, but it'll work. We're going for like a medium-high type situation. And we want to toast the buns before it gets too hot because I'm gonna use butter and I don't want to burn it. And meanwhile, let's see if we should turn the fries. Whoa. I'm not sure it's really necessary to turn them since they're browning fairly evenly on both sides already. I guess that's the thing with the netting. All right, well, I'm gonna turn the temp down a bit to like 425 just while we finish this. We're also getting organized. I got the cheese. This is American cheese from the deli. The advantage being that if you get it cut at the deli, you can get them to cut it fairly thin. These burgers, like if you did 2 slices of Kraft straight out of the, you know, plastic package, it would be too much cheese. But 2 of these thin slices is the right amount. I'm gonna get a little container and do a mix of salt and pepper so that I have that just ready to season the meat as we're cooking. Because once you start making the burgers, it's like it's a sprint to the finish. I'm gonna turn on the hood vent, and then I got some salted butter for the buns. And then again, what we're going for is to have a nice crunchy base on both sides of or not both sides, but on each bun. So we're gonna have the crunch of the meat, the crunch of the bun, the crunch of the onions, the crunch of the cucumbers, all that stuff. Oh, and while that's happening, let's grab the kimchi. My kimchi is from the Momofuku cookbook recipe, and I made it in October. It's pretty funky, but I like it that way. So the whole reason for this kimchi stuff is just because I make burgers so rarely, I almost never have like tomatoes and lettuce on hand when I want to make a burger. But I want some veg and some crunch, something, you know. And so one time I tried the kimchi, and honestly, it really almost is like a pseudo bacon burger. I said that earlier, but it brings this whole other savory element to the table, and it's really good. Done. All right, we're almost ready to put the meat on. I'm gonna turn the heat up a bit. We want to cook really hard, and the fries are looking great. This is perfect. So, all right, I'm gonna grab the meat. Put it on the stovetop, press down, make it nice and thin, season, move on to the next one. I don't think I have room on the griddle for everything. I'll just figure it out. You really want the surface to be heavily browned. Otherwise it's just gonna fall apart, first of all. This one right here is ready to turn. Uh-oh. I didn't get that one turned. All right. A little more seasoning, cheese, oh, that's the stuff right there. That's the stuff. Yeah. Then we're gonna add crispy onions. Between here. Did I miscount? Everyone gets a double burger. I miscounted. Sauce on the bottom. Try to get that fried cheese on there too. Okay, so because I miscounted, I'm making one triple. Top with kimchi, and some cucumbers. Let's get the fries out. Oh, I lost one in the oven. That's one danger of the net. Those look freaking awesome. All right, let's see. I'm gonna take a bite now. Let's take a bite of the triple. Oh man.
You got a triple? Oh my god.
Because I messed up in a way that benefited me. Oh. Yeah, I mean, so many things to chew on in there, and super savory and gooey and properly seasoned, and the fries on the rack are so snappy. Not snappy, but they have a little edge. But inside they're like, you know, sweet potato puree. Awesome. All right. See you next week.